And we are live, guys. Welcome to the live stream from Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're going to have an in-depth look at the Men of High Value movement, because I received the question, why? Why do I have to practice semen retention? Why should I avoid women right now? Why should I follow the 5 phases of leadership? Why should I do all this stuff? Why should I get so much money? What's the whole thing? What's the whole point of this movement? And I also got the question, maybe you got some good stuff on this channel, but maybe you shouldn't talk so much about 3 girls in love, because there's many other types of relationships that the principles you teach could help, and you're just talking to a small, very few niche people if you're only talking to people who want 3 girls in love or that stuff. So my response is this video to those 2 things. Understand that what we're trying to do here with this Men of High Value movement is to establish the 3 pillars of the movement. That's the most important aspect. That's truth, freedom, family. Truth, freedom, family. Those are the 3 pillars of the movement. Truth is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things, meaning our end goal. We're not at the truth stage yet, right? Right now we're in the confusion stage. It is massive confusion because and the past, since the very beginning, it's been lots and lots and lots of confusion. Over time, we evolve towards receiving the truth one small step at a time. The more truth we receive, the more freedom we receive, the more happiness, the joy, and the more as a society we manage to live together in harmony. The more we as a people, as a human species, understand the truth, the happier we're going to be living with each other wherever we are, whether it's on this planet or any other planet, right? It's principles. And we have to move towards the truth and understanding what the truth is, meaning that which works in the long run, in the big scheme of things. If we understand it, there will be harmony and there will be heaven wherever we are. So we're really trying to establish heaven on earth right here, harmony amongst everyone. Oh, how is that possible? By applying the truth, by being an example of truth, by being an example of integrity, by being an example of that which works, by being truth yourself. So this entire movement is based upon you becoming a man of truth, so that at the end of the of the rainbow, we're all men of truth. And when you create a powerful movement like that with men of truth whose lives are working, who have found solutions to their most basic problems, and then are beginning to solve problems for all of society as well, now we're beginning to get somewhere. That's the whole aspect of this movement, is creating this heaven on earth. And I use this because it sounds ridiculous to create heaven on earth. Like, who does that? Well, Men of High Value movement, that's what we're all about. Because we have to get there. And it is possible. And it just requires a few men to make a huge movement that eventually brings another amount of men that brings along the rest of us. Does that make sense? It only starts with a few minority of people. It starts with one man, really. And then it ends up becoming 2% of the world population, and then 5%, and then 15%, and then we get the 80%. Do you understand what I mean? So that's what we're working towards. We're moving towards creating a small form of amazing revolution that doesn't require force in order to achieve its purposes. Right? So that's the second pillar. If our movement is actually truth or truthful, we won't need to use force in order to achieve our purposes. It actually will be achieved naturally and with freedom, and people can come and they don't have to come if they don't want to. This movement is for those that desire ultimate happiness, ultimate joy, that desire to be tens in terms of happiness, the ratio of 1 to 10 in terms of happiness. Like, we want the people that this movement is for are those that want only the best of the best of the best in terms of lifestyle. If you just are happy the way you are right now, this movement is not for you. If you're just happy with monogamy, this movement is not for you. If you're just happy with your religion, this movement is not for you. Because what I'm doing is stripping away everything that you understand that you believed was working, but is obviously not working in your life. And I'm bringing you towards understanding that which does work in the long run and in the big scheme of things. Once you begin to apply the principles that I'm teaching you on this channel, you begin to see, like, oh my gosh, it actually does work. And oh my gosh, I'm observing that they're struggling with this and they're struggling with that. And interesting how he was talking about masculinity and femininity, and I can see it. I can see it happening around me. Do you understand what I mean? Like, all the things that I teach on this channel, you begin to observe, begin to look at people, observe people and see what's happening. Before, you've been stuck in your little cocoon, your little bubble, believing that, oh, life is just the way it is because it's just the way it is. No, people are not living according to truth, and that's why they're having problems. The moment they're beginning to live the truth and stop forcing others and stop yelling at each other and stop using violence or force in order to tax the people, the moment we begin to allow freedom to do its thing, people will begin to become educated, and they'll become educated towards the truth. Because when you force people, they can't apply the truth. It's impossible. They have to react to what's happening, to what you're doing to them, instead of, did that work? Did that not work? If that makes sense. So that's the pillars. And then you've got family. This is the reproductive aspect of going from generation to generation to generation, evolving towards truth. Because if you think about it, this is what parents do. Parents inherently desire their kids to be just as good or preferably better than they were. Why? Because we know we've made tons of mistakes. Like, you go through life, your teenage years and your 20s, and you're like, man, I screwed up. And then you get kids, and then you're like, man, in some ways, by proxy, I get another chance. I get another chance to actually become better and to live my life through my children and see that they succeed at a higher level than me. However, I need to do it in a way that I don't force them to live the life that I want them to live, and don't force them to live the life that I should have lived, right? If I force them, then they're going to go their own way and do something completely different. However, if I allow them to do whatever it is that they want, however, at the same time, leading them and gently persuading them to follow a course that might be very, very, very beneficial for them in the long run. If I, as a parent, care about my children, then the next generation, as long as I don't force my kids, then they're going to be better than me. And if they understand the same principle, guess what's going to happen to their kids? And then their kids, and then their kids, and then their kids. Do you think we're now moving in the right direction towards truth? Absolutely. Absolutely. We're trying to solve all of the world's problems by applying a few key, simple principles of life that work no matter who you are, where you are, no matter what. These principles work, and they just simply need to be applied. And when you apply them and they work, why wouldn't you want your kids to have the same? And why wouldn't you want your grandkids and your great-grandkids to have the exact same principles in your life? This is the Men of High Value movement. That's the big picture of things, where we're coming to a point where all children are born healthy. We're coming to a point where all women and children are always provided for, where there are no widows, where there are no homeless people, where everyone's needs, especially those that are vulnerable, meaning women and children, are taken care of. Men are selfish, that they can figure out their own stuff, right? If they don't want to provide for anyone, that's fine. But then they're not entitled to sleep around with anyone and screw women over. Do you understand what I mean? This is the long-term perspective of everyone receiving what they need in terms of women and children having sufficient for their needs and being able to remain in their femininity. That desire for women to remain in their femininity and children being allowed to grow up in their femininity so that they're not forced to be disciplined and have to take care of their own selves and survival between the age of 0 to 9 years old, that's ridiculous. We want them to grow up in a way that boys desire discipline. They desire to achieve huge purposes because they were free when they were children, so they don't have to rebel against the system once they grow up, right? We want them to be fired up about the system, and the only way to do that is by allowing them their freedom and giving them a system that works in terms of giving them motivation and getting them fired up to be part of the system. Today's system sucks. Today's system sucks because it's telling them, if either it's from a religious standpoint, you got to do this and this and this and that and the other, and maybe that religion might not be working very well for most of the people. Maybe it's not working very well for the parents. And then they're trying to force their religion upon their child, and the child is looking at his parents' lives and basically, your lives suck. Why on earth should I participate in your religion? It doesn't make any sense. And you're not answering my most vital questions of why I feel the way I feel. Right? You've got that aspect, and you've got the other aspect of the system of college, getting a job, and then save up for my pension and allow myself to be taxed 60 to 70% by the government. And people becoming richer and richer and richer amongst the banking society, while the people of the working class are getting poorer and poorer and poorer. There's something about the system that doesn't work very well, right? Once you begin to understand all this stuff, you begin to see that the system that we're allowing our kids to grow up in sucks. And we're solving that problem one step at a time. The Men of High Value movement is part of solving that problem and helping create a system that children can grow up and be fired up outside their brains all of the time, continuously for the rest of their lives. And there is a possibility for that. And Three Girls in Love is a crucial aspect to help men to be fired up, because monogamy does not cut it. If you've seen it, the kids have been growing up in this generation and are beginning to learn about female nature, right? We're beginning to understand and listen to these MGTOWs talking about these women. We're beginning to observe women at school and in college, and that they say one thing and then they do something else. They want nice guys, and then they want bad boys instead. Do you understand what I mean? Like, the system is not working very well. And we're solving that problem with the Men of High Value movement. This is crucial to understand, that we want 12-year-olds to understand the system so that they don't have to go through their teenage years drinking away, smoking weed, doing all this crap, remaining in their femininity instead of understanding success, understanding motivation, understanding what it's required in order for them to achieve what they want to achieve, what they want long term, looking at the rich and then seeing, wow, imagine if I could have that in my 20s, in my 30s, instead of being 60 or 70 years old when I'm a millionaire. You don't have to wait until that point for you to become a millionaire. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can achieve a millionaire status within the next 5 to absolutely 10 years. There's a maximum, okay? If you actually put the pedal to the metal, put your head down and start working towards your dreams and goals. What you've been put in is a system that doesn't motivate you, that makes you believe that success and happiness is impossible to achieve. It's not. It's easy. It's simple. But you got to understand masculinity, femininity. You got to understand what drives you, what makes you fired up outside your brain, and that you can actually have it. And then you need to understand what actually the dreams and goals that you have, if they're actually legit. Like, for example, a guy who believes that he's going to receive so much joy and happiness if he could just sleep with 1,000 women, right? That logic is not correct. Because once you get there and then you sleep with 1,000 women and then you feel empty inside, you're just wondering, what the hell was that all about? Why did I do what I did? Why did I just follow this entire course for years and years and years? I did this in order for me to sleep with 1,000 women and I feel empty inside. My world is falling apart. I haven't achieved my purposes. I've only slept around with girls and now I'm teaching other guys to sleep around with girls. How fulfilled do you think they truly are once a few years go by? Once they become plus, 35, plus 40, plus 50, and they look at their lives and like, the only thing I've done is eat, drink, and sleep around. I haven't done jack. Right? He hasn't focused and he's still poor at 50 years old. And he might be rich, but he's unhappy as hell because there's nothing that gives him, like, he feels entitled and he, like, do you understand what I mean? Like, the level of happiness is going to decline exponentially for a guy who's been in immediate gratification mode for decades. I don't want that for you. So I'm trying to help you understand what will give you happiness right now and get you fired up right now, but also still be fired up at 101 years old because you're applying the principles of truth. And you've got a family who loves you. You've got kids that look up to you and be like, man, I want to be like my dad. Or great grandkids that want to be like, man, I remember that guy. I want to be like that guy. You want to be that guy. Does that make sense? So it's one small step at a time. We're getting you towards that aspect of things and creating heaven on earth. But first, we got to create heaven in here. We got to create heaven on our journey, on our purpose. So what are the steps? Okay, this is where it starts. Number one, semen retention. That's what we're all about on this channel. It's the first step towards success, and so few people apply it. That puts you at a massive advantage. Even if you struggle and suffer with it for a year, okay? Keep watching this channel. Keep trying and relapse and then fail and then try again and then relapse and fail and try again. Why? Because at 12 years old, that would have been the best time to manage to control that sexual expression. No ejaculation, none whatsoever, unless I desire it with the partners in 3 Girls in Love. I'm not going to create a hyper production in myself if I'm not able to control myself. Life is about learning how to control your thoughts, control your emotions, control your behaviors so that you can control your habits and thereby control your destiny. That's what life is all about. Because if you can do that, you will get everything in life that you will ever desire. Do you understand that? It's simply understanding delayed gratification and the power of sexual transmutation as explained in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill at a massive depth level as taught on this channel with semen retention. You will get to immediately after 60 to 90 days, you will have an optimal rate of production of sperm in your body that will allow your health to be at its optimum rate as long as you also do the exercise aspect of things. The progression that you'll have in exercise is absolutely obliterating, okay, in terms of the results you get if you're on semen retention and practicing exercise and all that stuff, okay? is going to be amazing. But that's not the most important aspect. That's just the health part. For now, that's if you're 12 years old, that's not really crucial unless you're going to be an athlete. Right now, when you're 12 years old, what's important is you putting your focus, being fixed on making money, achieving your financial goals. That's why schooling is an absolute freaking waste of time. You don't want to be stuck in school 7 years or 6 years from 12 to 18 years old because it's a waste of time. How are you making money there? How are you making money? You're not. Forget about it. Tell your parents, that's it. I quit. I'm not going to school anymore. They're going to freak out and flip outside their mind. And they're going to be like, oh, but you've got to finish high school diploma and you can't. Those diplomas, high school and college, have got no value whatsoever for you getting a job, or for you, or in other words, for you getting rich. Right? Forget the job thing. Even though I teach, get as many jobs as you can in order for you to be busy, but that's for you to temporarily get you to start a business. Why is the financial so important? Why is it so crucial to stay away from women during this point of time? The aspect is that the sperm production is there so that you can. There's two aspects to your sperm production. One, you can say three. One is for you to have sex and ejaculate in order for you to have kids. That's great. And also sometimes for the women to enjoy it. If you don't ejaculate at all, and then you ejaculate maybe a few months or a few times a year for your 3 girls in love when you've started that family, then it's special when you actually do that. If you ejaculate every single day or every time you have sex, it's not special. And it's like, okay, you stop doing that. Like, it's not nice. Okay, but what you don't supply in massive measures becomes valuable, right? That's why semen retention is also crucial. You got that? That's the first aspect. Number two aspect, it's in terms of your health. When you don't ejaculate all the time, your sperm production is reabsorbing into your body. It's a resorption that makes it so that your organs and your health is taken care of to the nth degree. You're not depleting yourself continuously and draining your organs every single time you ejaculate. It requires a lot to produce the sperm, and you just getting it out will drain your organs over time because they need to produce more, and now they need to produce more, and now they need to produce more for no purpose whatsoever. That's the second aspect. The third aspect of sperm production is for you, which is the most important aspect, is for you to become motivated and fired up outside your brain every single freaking day. That's what your sperm production really is for. That's why the universe has created us in such a way that we have that. The motivation factor. Okay? That's what the sperm production is for. So why would you let go of your sperm production or of your sperm every single day? Or once a week or once a month? Don't you want your motivation and being fired up to be consistent continuously and be exponential? Absolutely. Now you know the reason why I say semen retention is so crucial, because it's your motivation. It's what fires you up, because it puts the right mind frame in mind of, I want one day in the future for my sexual dreams to be fulfilled. And I'm not going to practice it the immediate gratification. And I'll know that the first 30 days is the hardest part. But after those 30 days, your sperm production is optimal. So you don't feel like, oh, but I need to, blah, blah, blah. You don't feel that at all when you get past 30 days. When you get past 30 days, you become calm. You become emotional consistency and stability, and being fired up outside your brain. You will be able to look at a fully dressed woman, just see her beautiful face and be like, man, I'd love to be with her. But you know what? It's not time. Why? Because I've got self-control, and that would just simply be immediate gratification for me. What's the point of immediate gratification in screwing her life and her future relationships over and breaking up her future family if I'm only going to use her for my immediate gratification? It doesn't make any sense. And I'm not ready to provide for her and have kids with her yet. And also, if I'm not ready for 3 girls in love, she's going to be emotionally unfulfilled because we're living in monogamy. Women were not built for monogamy, for monogamous relationships. They're monogamous if they're feminine, but they're not built for a monogamous relationship with only you. They need 2 best friends forever. And that's why I explained the 3 girls in love system, because it's women that need it. Okay? And in order for your kids to be emotionally fulfilled, you need women in your family to be emotionally fulfilled. So if you understand that, then okay, then having sex with women goes completely outside the window if I'm not going to commit to them for life. This is one of the biggest reasons why we put that aside and say, that's awesome. Because if I know that, then I can just focus on making money, which is the most important aspect. There's 2 things in life that you need to learn, okay, other than health. Health is great. Learn that. Wonderful. Keep that on the side, though. Half an hour a day. That's enough. You don't need more than that. The 2 things you need to learn in life are people skills, how to get what you want while creating win-win situation, right? People skills. And number 2, is understanding money. And if you're rich, you've understood money. So that's the only other thing that there is to understand on this planet, is to figure out how to make money. Because if you can make money and you can keep that money and you can grow that money and that can grow exponentially, you'll always be able to hire people to solve whatever problem that you or anyone else in your family or extended family has. Your job as a masculine man is to solve problems. And this is one thing I'm going to talk about in an own video, but I'll briefly mention it here about ownership. If you are masculine, yes, you care about your own self. Awesome, okay? But however, you also understand the big picture of things. You understand the truth of true selfishness. And true selfishness is simply understanding that as long as I keep wanting to build myself up and get power for myself, and I only do it with integrity and honesty and win-win situations, there's nothing wrong with selfishness and looking out for number one. Why? Because if you understand the big picture of things, the eternal journey that you're on, you'll understand that screwing other people over in order for you to gain something short term is immediate gratification, and it will stop your progress. It will actually cause you to stumble and fall eventually and give you an exponential decline, either by you going to prison or people not supporting you anymore because they've understood reputation. Your reputation sucks now because you're screwing everyone over, and this, that, and the other. Do you understand what I mean? Like, if you are integral and honest and get a fantastic reputation throughout your entire life, and you always continuously make win-win situations so that you're still competing, you're massively about competition, but you're only creating win-win situations because you know that that is the only thing that works long-term and creates an exponential growth curve. That's selfish, but it requires to help other people and find solutions to other people's problems in order for you to achieve massive amounts of power. Do you understand what I mean? Don't be like all those rich guys that are screwing people over. Be like the true rich guys that other rich guys want to be with, because you're awesome. Because if they follow you, they're going to get massive amounts of riches, and they're also going to trust you. You're never going to double cross or stab anyone in the back because you're a man of integrity. You'd rather have a fantastic relationship with other people around you than do something like that. Does that make sense? So if you keep doing that, then being selfish in the sense of, I want to become rich, I want to become elevated myself. Awesome. Do you know the best way to do that is by helping millions of people to get what they want? If you help millions of people get what they want, you will exponentially, massively get what you want. Everything that you want. And guess what? What men were designed to guess what actually creates emotional fulfillment for men? It's adoration and power and seeing his family being emotionally fulfilled and being able to find solutions to problems and being able to master life, master his emotions, his thoughts, having control. That's what creates emotional fulfillment. Knowing and knowing that the things that you don't have under control, you will eventually have that under control. And that's what fires you up. There's a problem, I want to solve it. Ownership is believing and understanding that it's not just about you. Yes, it's all about you, but you're a very small little person in the universe. And it's all about solving the world problems. Ownership, extreme ownership, as Jocko Willink explains, is to believe that all the problems in the world is your fault. Let that sink in for a moment. Believe that all the problems in the world is your fault. Now, if you're feminine about that, you're going to be like, oh no, you know what I mean? And it's going to make you depressed. But if you're masculine about it, you'll understand that it's about prioritization. I can't solve all of the problems right now, but all of the problems in the world are my problems. If there's one person out there who suffers, that's on me. My job is to alleviate that suffering. The best way for me to alleviate everyone's suffering is to solve millions upon millions of people's problems, get tons of cash, so I can then take that cash and then solve millions upon millions of other people's problems. And then once I got cash from that, which is the profit motive, which is awesome, I can now take that cash and then reinvest it into millions of people's problems and solving their problems. So that we once and for all together as a society, as men of high value, moving towards a brighter and brighter day. Do you understand how all this works? This system, it's a universal system that has been put in place in a beautiful manner. If you understand the principles that I teach on this channel, you'd be freaking excited outside your mind, because you understand that the system is perfect. The system is perfect. Masculinity was designed in this way for you to desire power. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's awesome. Desire power and then understand the best way to achieve power, which is to become rich, which is the easiest way to become rich, is by solving millions of people's problems. Okay, I've beat that thing to death now, but do you understand what I mean? I'm just repeating again and again so it sinks inside your brain, because once you understand this, you can be excited outside your brain for your entire life, because you understand that you have purpose. You have a meaningful life. You're serving others because you want to serve yourself, but you're serving others and you're creating a win-win situation that's eternal. Karma, it's freaking awesome. Moving on to the next aspect. This is why you need to get rich, because all of these world's problems are your problems, and you're not going to give up before everyone's happy. That's a tall order. Let's get started, right? One small day at a time, one small step at a time. Your first job probably is applying for 1,000 jobs so that you can get 3 of them, and then fill up your schedule with 70 to 80 hours a week, right? And then start a business on the side. That's what I'm teaching on this channel. Moving on, once you've done that, once you begin to get that exponential growth curve in your financials, there are 2 aspects that will create heaven on earth. 2 things alone. If we only know this is the big grand scheme of things of achieving heaven on earth, as we're talking about on this channel. 2 things. 1, we need to non-violently manage to somehow overthrow the government. Non-violently, meaning we have to come to the point where the government stops forcing people to give money to causes, to politicians' causes, or to the rich's causes. Okay, this needs to stop, and it needs to stop fast if possible. It's not possible to stop fast because it's going to roll over and people are moving towards socialism and communism everywhere around the world. It's not going to end well. Ever does it end well. Okay, and we have to. That's the political agenda of this movement, is bringing everyone towards voting for freedom, and true freedom in the sense that there's only the law, police, and the military left. That's it. I don't want to see any other government program or institution ever again, if possible. And we're going to do it non-violently somehow. Okay? We're going to vote for it. We're going to educate people. We're going to help people to understand how much damage it causes that there are welfare programs, how much damage it causes that we allow government to go out and attack other countries. That damage can be undone. And it needs to be undone over time, gradually and progressively. And you know who will take care of the poor? Who will take care of the lame? Who will take care of those that can't provide for themselves? Us, the rich people. The welfare programs, the private institutions like the Men of High Value system, we're going to create better system than the governments could ever do. Because once people become educated on these principles, there's massive amounts of abundance and plenty to go around. We don't need the government to steal 60 to 70% of our money. You don't need that. That force is uneducated. And the government has been forcing us for thousands upon thousands of years. I'm done with slavery. How about you? This is the Men of High Value movement. We're moving in the direction of truth, that which works in the long run in the big scheme of things. Force from a government does not work. It creates tyrannies. It creates dictatorships. It creates issues for the normal average Joe. And I'm not going to have it anymore. And that's why this movement is extremely important. And we're going to create powerful, rich men that won't have it anymore, that are willing to use their own earned cash for a political agenda of educating the masses about that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. Once I've got billions of dollars, I'm not going to mind spending billions of dollars teaching people that we're diligently plotting to take over the world so that we can leave them the hell alone. Right? I want everyone to be free to do whatever they want to do as long as they don't hurt anyone. So if we understand that aspect, that's the one of the most crucial aspects of the Men of High Value movement. So if you're saying, oh, I'm going to vote for Biden, or like, you're not getting the system. You don't understand this whole thing that I'm trying to explain on this channel. Okay? If you understand what I mean, in case this, and you'll also understand that in order for us to achieve this, we've got to revolutionize the financial system. That means that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is truly the future of things. It's decentralized. It doesn't require third parties or banks in order for you to have money. Man, a fantastic thing. We're not at the we're creating a position where the government is unable to confiscate your valuables. Man, wow. Even if you have gold and silver, the government can come inside your house, break it open with the police, and say, that's your gold. We're confiscating it because you owe us money in taxes. What the hell? With Bitcoin, they can't do it. They need your passwords. And if you never tell them your passwords, they can never get access to your money. They'll have to torture you and kill you in order for them to steal your money. I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay taxes. That's not what I'm saying at all. If I do that, I go to prison myself. But do you understand what I mean? Like, I'm saying that they can't confiscate the money that is truly yours. No matter what dictatorship or tyrannical whatever is out there in the world, they can't steal your money with Bitcoin. That is revolutionary. Okay, moving on to the next aspect. Libertarianism is crucial to be established on the planet. Eventually, if you think about it, government shouldn't be there at all once you get to the truth aspect. Once you get everyone moving towards education, towards the truth, and people are beginning to apply the true principles of the law, which is basically being kind to other people. When everyone are doing that, there's no need for government, police, or military. Why? Like, the only reason they're there is because there are some people that want to steal from you. There are some people that want to hurt you. There are some people that, okay, so we need government for a time to protect my property so I can go out and get more. So I can go out and you know, become successful. I want police. I want this. But in the long run, if everyone's happy and everyone is emotionally fulfilled and everyone is like not hurting other people or stealing their stuff, why do we have police, right? There's no point. At that point in time, we can do away with it. But for now, that's the only form of government that is allowed in my eyes. Okay, next aspect is kind of in line with everything that I've been speaking about, but why 3 Girls in Love? Why 3 Girls in Love? Again, we're doing it for the women. We're doing it for the children, and we're doing it in a way so that they're emotionally fulfilled. The biggest thing that emotionally fulfills women is being in love, adoration, being able to worship their man of truth. Okay? Understanding that obsession creates loyalty. Once we manage to create a system, okay, or discover the system that's been universal from the beginning of time, where women remain obsessed for their entire lives, man, what happens? The children grow up seeing their parents in love with each other. And they're like, man, I want that for my life. And guess what they do? They end up creating the same kind of in-love relationship. This is physically not possible in monogamy or any other form of relationship long term. For them to have in love emotions forever. And when I say in love, I'm not talking about, oh, we're best buddies and high five and you're wonderful and I'm so glad I have you in my life and give me a hug and you know, because behind the scenes, those monogamous couples that state things like that, they are emotionally unfulfilled and are basically have to solve problems on a day-to-day basis and work hard on their relationship. Monogamy sucks. And I've been in it for 10 years and I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm one of the few whose relationship is working. So if you understand that I'm like, I literally believe like our relationship is absolutely amazing, but it sucks from my perfection type of standpoint. I want ultimate bliss and happiness. And I want my wife to have ultimate bliss and happiness. And I know what's going to give her that. And that's other women that are going in the same direction as her, who become one with her and who are adoring and worshiping me because they need it. I don't need it. I don't care, right? I can be happy and satisfied at an 8. Who cares? I get, you know, if that was it, I'd be happy. I'd actually die and be like, oh, you know, life was good. I really enjoyed my life. Yeah, there were tough times and hard times, but that's just life. No, it's not. Life was designed to be enjoyed, for you to have joy and happiness all of the freaking time if you apply the correct principles. The only reason why life sucks for you or for anybody else is because they're not applying the correct principles. Okay? Like, yes, you might die. That's fine. Okay? We accept the truth, but that's a problem that we can solve eventually. We will solve that problem, believe it or not. We're going to solve death. We're going to solve taxes, the two biggest problems in the universe. And we're going to do it with the Men of High Value movement. But the whole point that I'm trying to explain to you guys is we're solving all of the problems of the world with 3 Girls in Love and libertarianism because there's no force involved. We're not forcing women into 3 Girls in Love. Not at all. If they want to leave, let them leave. Wonderful. Awesome. Okay? But they won't want to leave because they're freaking in love and fired up outside their brain and emotionally fulfilled because you're living according to truth. And you're taking all of the blame. Whenever they have problems, it's your fault. You're the one who caused it because you didn't have sufficient amounts of resources, or you didn't, you know, shower them equally with what they needed in order for them to be happy. Or do you understand what I mean? Everything can be fixed. There's a solution to everything. And I believe that 3 Girls in Love solves so many problems that it will come to a point where there are no more problems in your life other than other people's problems. Okay? It's the same thing with God, man. Do you think God has problems? No, he doesn't. Okay? He's fired up outside his brain. He's happy. But he understands that his children has problems. So his work continues. And he's motivated for eternity because there's always going to be kids. There's always going to be a population of human species that suffer and that struggle. And his goal is to get them to over time educate themselves to figure it out. Because if he intervenes all the time, then we'll never figure it out. It's the same thing as government intervention. Okay, we'll never figure it out if government intervenes all the time. Same thing. Same thing. Okay, so if you understand that, God knows exactly what he's doing. The universe knows exactly what it's doing. It's a perfect system. Apply it to your life and become fired up outside your brain from day one, today, and throughout eternities. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the Men of High Value movement. I could speak hours about the 3 Girls in Love movement and why all those things are so crucial and important. But you've got the gist. And if you've been part of my channel for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'll close with the questions and let you guys go. Hey man, congrats on the 3 Girls in Love video on the Smith family. Use that YouTube algorithm to your advantage, brother. Yeah, man, it's quite insane. My other channel, which is the 3 Girls in Love channel, I had 248 subscribers there yesterday. Today I have like 319 or something. It's insane. Like 17,000 views. Half of the people agree with the video. Half of the people don't agree. I love it. Okay. Anytime people push that dislike button, it simply promotes my stuff. And I love it. Okay. 100% facts. Make sure you guys subscribe to the 3 Girls in Love channel for sure. Hey, I really appreciate your knowledge and perspective. I'm earning a pretty decent money in my life, but I'm not enjoying my job. What should I do? I'm on 60 plus day of semen retention. Start your business. Start your business. Okay, that's it. That's what I would tell you to do. And if you're earning pretty decent money, actually, I'm gonna make a video about that in the next time, in 2 days' time, explaining what I would do with the money and moving forward in the right direction towards 3 Girls in Love, in my opinion. Let's see. God is in control. Do you have a business? If you're asking me, absolutely. This is my business. Okay, coaching is my business, but I also have multiple income streams from other places as well. So anyway, make sure you like this video, subscribe, become fired up outside your brain, start working 70 to 80 hours a week. Make sure you start that side hustle and build your financial foundation. Forget about the romantic stuff with the women. It's an absolute waste of time if you're not applying 3 Girls in Love. And even if you could apply 3 Girls in Love right now, don't do it, because you've got no understanding of female nature and you're just going to break women's hearts. And that's unnecessary, because they're going to think about it for the rest of their lives while they're in their own freaking family. And they're going to be like, oh, I wish you could have worked out with that other guy. And the reason why they're thinking like that is because monogamy sucks, and it causes women to wish they were somewhere else. But they can't, because they're there and they want their family to work and blah, blah, blah. And so life begins to suck for them. Don't do it. Avoid women romantically until you understand female nature. Hire me as a coach if you've got tons of money. Let's go.